This is 5 on your side at 6. Focused on you.
First tonight, a weather impact alert. Showers and storms rolling through the region, giving us a brief break from the extreme heat. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. Hopefully the severe storm threat is over. Let's get to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
Well, it's certainly winding down. And for the metro area and points to the north, we think that severe weather threat is indeed over, as any of the stronger storms now are farther to the south of St. Louis. Around the immediate metro area, there's still some light rain, maybe a few rumbles of thunder drifting through the region, but it's mostly down to the south of St. Louis. This is the area in general that hasn't seen activity earlier today and still has some heat and humidity to try to fuel some of those thunderstorms. Now, they're already through Potosi. They're heading down towards Ironton and Farmington. We also have a few more strong storms here, southern portions of Marion County into northern Jefferson County, back over to the east of Nashville, Illinois, and back up towards Carlisle. Some of the same areas that saw some of that heavy rainfall last night. We're thinking about another hour, and then these storms are out of the 5 on your side viewing area. Damaging winds along with some downpours, the two threats that we have to deal with. Don't drive through any roads that have water over them, and be cautious if there are gusty winds for sure. After this, it's back to our regularly scheduled summertime heat and humidity tomorrow, and that will continue our heat warning for St. Louis. At least we get a break from that tonight.
And you can get your weather impact forecast on your phone. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355.
We are following breaking news in St. Louis. A man who spent 34 years in prison for a murder he says he did not commit may be a free man tonight. The St. Louis Circuit Attorney just issued the final legal ruling that will likely set Christopher Dunn free. Megan Kernan is live outside the Carnahan Courthouse in St. Louis with this breaking story. Megan.
Within the next hour, Christopher Dunn could walk down these steps behind me as a free man. Late this afternoon, St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore confirmed that he will not refile charges against Dunn. That, combined with the ruling today from the Missouri Supreme Court, means Dunn will finally get out of prison. Dunn was 18 years old when he was convicted of the murder of Rico Rogers. Last Wednesday, a St. Louis judge vacated the conviction and ordered Dunn to be released. After a legal back and forth that kept him behind bars, the state Supreme Court ruled today that St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore has the jurisdiction to release him. Gore then filed an official motion which makes it clear that Dunn will not be retried, and now Dunn is expected to be released. Activists and religious leaders who gathered earlier today still believe he should have been released immediately.
What do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now. We want it now.
Enough is enough. The stress, the anguish, the pain that Andrew Bailey is causing the Dunn family for political points is inexcusable. It's atrocious. It's unbelievable.
Dunn's family and supporters say he is being transferred here now and should be leaving the jail tonight. If and when that happens, we will be here. Reporting live from downtown St. Louis, Megan Kernan, 5 on your side.
The University of Missouri is making major changes to its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs on campus. Facing threats of funding cuts, President Moon Choi announced a restructuring. Vice
Chancellor Maurice Gibson will depart to take a job at an HBCU in Arkansas, and his department will be disbanded.
Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, is here with more details after pressing the president to explain these changes. Mark.
Yeah, Anna, Mike, it was actually last week during that GOP debate in our studios in the governor's race where Senator Bill Eigel broke that news on stage, at least the early outline of it. He said the University of Missouri was removing its DEI programs on its own. Not quite right. We followed up to ask if that was true, and the university invited us to interview the president.
Mizzou President Moon Choi pushed back against political rhetoric from Republicans targeting DEI.
We don't promote an ideology. We don't indoctrinate. We provide environments where everyone is valued.
But over the course of an hour-long press conference, it became clear the pressure campaign is taking its toll.
Mizzou gets more than $500 million a year from state legislators. Certainly you must notice when state legislators threaten to cut funding if you don't cut DEI. Is this restructuring evidence that those threats are working?
We don't believe that there are threats, but we are seeing what is happening in other states. We've seen examples of universities having to eliminate their DEI divisions with mass layoffs in their DEI groups.
Moon's office announced a restructuring that would disband the current DEI office and relocate those staff members under different departments across campus.
We are very grateful for the support, the $500 million that we receive as a system. It's important that we do not become an institution that excludes in the name of inclusion.
Are you playing politics here?
So we have not had discussions with elected officials. As you know, session is over for this year.
You said you haven't spoken to any legislators. Senator Bill Eigel says that you called him directly to give him this news.
I shared with him the first email message that I sent out, giving him a heads up that message is going to go out. I talked to his chief of staff as a heads up.
So you have talked to elected officials already. Your message was, we're making changes, please don't defund us, essentially. Why, if the University of Missouri was not divisive and was not excluding people, then why wasn't that message conveyed to them there? Why make changes at all?
So my message that I think you're referring to basically stated that Dr. Gibson is moving on to a different job, and that I will be meeting with faculty, staff, and student groups to discuss a reorganization.
President Choi also said the Supreme Court's ruling overturning affirmative action changed the dynamics on campuses nationwide. Mizzou says despite the shifting focus, its admissions department registered an uptick in Black and Hispanic freshman enrollment. According to the recent U.S. Census data, 12.4% of Missouri's population is Black, but Black professors on campus make up just 3.4% of the faculty.
Coming up, several agencies adding up the damage in St. Clair County 2 weeks after flash flooding, when people living there could see some relief.
Plus, diving into Olympic history, a look at the World Union of Olympic Cities and why St. Louis has a special seat.
Here's a look at the Olympic events coming up in prime time tonight at 7:06. It's the women's team final in gymnastics, a must-watch. In swimming, the men's 100-meter freestyle semifinals at 7:44. The women's 100-meter backstroke final at 7:58. Then see the women's surfing final at 10:06, followed by a late edition of 5 on Your Side at 10:30.